Hi, everybody. This is Mrs. Hahn. So today we're going to talk about when you are watching a public speaker, how do you evaluate that speaker's claims, their main idea, and their purpose in giving the speech? So first, before we get started, in Buzz, you have a fill-in-the-blank notes document that you need to open. So in the Lesson 3 folder, it says Practice It, Evaluating a Speaker's Claims and Purpose Notes. You need to go ahead and make your own copy of these notes and fill them in as I go through this presentation. So you can see there's fill in the blanks here, and you can pause this video periodically to fill in the missing blanks, and then you'll be allowed to use these notes on the final assessment. So make sure you pause this video and make your own copy of those notes if you haven't done so already. You can use the link either in the Practice It document or even just by clicking on the link in the presentation, which is the Evaluating a Speaker's Claims and Purpose lesson. Read it. Okay, so here's our learning objectives. I can identify the claim of an argument or a speech, as well as the purpose of an author's speech, which might be to inform or to motivate or to persuade, or maybe many of those things all together in one speech. Your second learning objective is this. I can determine who the author's target audience is and what strategies he or she uses to engage that audience. So here are a few terms we're going to read through. So first, one of the big terms we need to know is the target audience. So what group of people are we targeting? So when I'm giving a speech, this is the specific group of people who you are aiming to reach with the messaging in your speech. Target audience can be dictated by age, race, gender, income, or other factors. My audience might be everybody. My audience might be my students, which it is today. My audience might be teens. So that group of people who you're trying to reach with your message. Your main idea, this is like the thesis or the main argument. This refers to what your speech is primarily about. Key points, this refers to the arguments or information that support your main idea. So I might have one main point and then some additional points that I talk about, but they're maybe not my main point or my most important idea. Now, here are some types of speeches that you need to know and what their functions are. Now, some speeches might be multiple. So one type of speech is entertainment. The core purpose of an entertaining speech is to amuse the audience, to entertain them. It could be beautiful, artistic, it could be funny. So it's entertainment. An informative speech, well, the purpose is simply to simplify complex theories into simpler, easy to digest, less complicated ideas. So in other words, I want to convey information accurately. A demonstrative speech is when we demonstrate. So the function of this type of speech is to show how something works or to explain how something is done. These speeches might come with like a visual aid or a physical demonstration. So I could be demonstrating how to cook something. I could be demonstrating how to get an A on a test by showing you different strategies. Persuasive. In this speech, the speaker is trying to prove why his or her point of view is right, and by extension, influence the audience to embrace that point of view. Now, let's say I'm trying to persuade teenagers that smoking is bad. I could make a really funny presentation where I give you lots of facts, informing you about the dangers of smoking, and persuading you not to smoke. So I might have a speech that is persuasive, informative, and entertaining all in one. Speeches might have multiple functions. Here are a few more types of speeches. Motivational. This is a special kind of persuasive speech where the speaker encourages the audience to pursue their own well-being. By injecting confidence into the audience, the speaker is able to guide them towards achieving their goals. Debate. This is a similar structure to a persuasive speech in that the goal of the speaker is just to justify their claim. However, this speech is different or distinct in that the motivations of the speaker are centered around justifying their stance or their beliefs rather than trying to convince the audience. So a debate might be I'm talking with another person rather than just talking to a group or an audience. And then there's artistic. This delivery method for this type of speech can be in the form of poetry or song lyrics that carry a powerful message using the arts. Remember, poems can be beautiful, but they also can be persuasive or motivational. So what you need to do right now is you need to pause this video. And in this presentation, which is in Buzz, you can either go to the Evaluating an Author's Purpose lesson, read it, and go to this slide and click play. Okay. And then by doing that, you're going to watch The Power of the Storytelling by Stacey Abrams. Or you can go to YouTube and you can type The Power of Storytelling by Stacey Abrams and you'll find this speech. So you need to go ahead and press play and watch this speech, which is only about 5.5 minutes, and then come back and finish this video. Okay. Now, I'm assuming you've paused and you've watched the video. I can't play it on Screencastify, which is why you have to go watch it separately. So after you've watched that speech, if you haven't watched it, go watch it now, okay? Go to YouTube and either type in The Power of Storytelling by Stacey Abrams, or just go to Buzz, click on the Practicing or Evaluating an Author's Purpose lesson, read it, open that up, and go to slide 7 and click play, and you can watch the speech there. Okay, listed below, I want you to write down in your notes, what would you say is Stacey Abrams' purpose in her speech when she's talking about storytelling? What is her purpose? Is she informing us? Is she debating someone? Is she making an artistic performance? Think about it, go to your notes and write it down. Okay, so hopefully you've had some time to think about the things that she talked about. So her purpose was to persuade. Okay, so the first thing that she was trying to do is she was trying to persuade the audience that storytelling is powerful and it can be used to help other people. Now, second, she was entertaining. She was speaking at a dinner in front of people from Hollywood, so she wanted to entertain her audience. Finally, her purpose was to motivate. She wanted to motivate her audience to use their stories and their ability to make movies, and to use the stories of others to do good in the world. So she talked a little bit about the power they had to use their stories and the stories of other people to do good in the world, to help others. Now I want you to go to your notes and pause, and I want you to think about this. What is the main claim or the most important message that Stacey Abrams is trying to convey? She makes a couple points in her speech. So what's the main point? What's the biggest thing she's trying to convey to her audience? Second, she makes a couple other additional points. So what are the other ideas or key points that she also mentions in her speech in addition to her main claim? Pause this video and write what you think in your notes. Then on the next slide, I'm going to reveal the answer, but I want you to practice and see, can you identify what her main argument is, her main claim? Okay, so now here's our answer. Hopefully you paused the video and wrote down your idea. So determining an author's main claim or idea. Well, Stacey Abrams' main claim, she's arguing that it's important to use the power of storytelling to uplift the voices of others and then show them that no matter who they are, their stories carry power and meaning and purpose. And those are her words. No matter how old they are or how poor they are or wherever they come from, that people's stories matter and they carry power, meaning, and purpose. And we should use stories to uplift other people and serve them. Now, she talked about some other things. So here are some of her additional points from the speech. It's also important to embrace authenticity and truth telling, even when others encourage you not to. And it's important to be honest about the challenges of women, especially women of color, and that's something that's really meaningful to her. Last, I want you to pause the video and then think about who is her target audience and write that down on your notes. So here's your question. Who is Stacey Abrams' target audience? And what speaking strategies should she use to try to persuade them, to reach them, and connect with them on an emotional level? Pause the video, write down your ideas, and then come back and see if you got them right. All right, hopefully you had a second to think about that. You're asking yourself, who's her main audience and how is she reaching them and pulling at their heartstrings? So her target audience, well, she said in the beginning, she was talking to the Hollywood Reporter. This is actually a print and digital magazine that focuses on Hollywood films, television, and entertainment industries. So Abrams shares personal stories from her childhood and her career. So this helps people see her human side, right? It makes her feel appear vulnerable and relatable. So when she talks about how people saying that she should change this about her appearance or change her natural hair or whatever, she makes us connect with her. When she tells stories about how her dad tucked her in and told her stories and her mom, made stories important in her life, it makes us connect with her because we think about her childhood. It makes her seem very human. All right. Now, lastly, because Abrams is talking to the Hollywood Reporter, she talks about how stories were important in her life as a child and the role stories played in her career now as a politician, and how each person, including the people in the audience, they can use their stories to tell the truth and to help other people. So she tells these stories from her own life to make an emotional connection, which of course is the group of the Hollywood Reporter members. And then she also uses her stories to make them realize they can do that too. Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about identifying a speaker's main idea and also how they're targeting an audience and what they're doing to connect to that audience.